Hi everyone, my name's George Farmer, also known as the Aquascaper, and this video is going to show you how I aquascape this beautiful Aquascaper 600 aquarium. I'm going to be using some locally collected hardscape, some plants from Denelay, some soil from Denelay, and there's excellent equipment here. So as I said, Aquascaper 600 aquarium, super matte anthracite cabinet, Kessel lighting, and this awesome new lighting arm from Evolution Aqua. So I'm really excited to get going. I hope you enjoy the process. Please leave any comments below if you want to ask any questions, etc., and I'll try my hardest to get back to you. So first thing I'm going to do is add 9 litres of crushed volcano mineral. Now, using my hands and a paintbrush, I'm just going to slope the volcano mineral to the back so it's higher at the back and more shallow at the front. And I'm going to leave an empty space at the front so we don't see the volcano mineral up against the glass. So, okay, our next step is to position our hardscape. And today I'm going to be using some locally collected rock, which I actually collected whilst on holiday in Cornwall off the beach. It's beautiful, it's got some white grains running through it. I've actually used this before, so I know it's aquarium safe. And I'm just going to have a really good play around with it. The volcano mineral will act as a protector against the glass, and you should take quite a long time doing this process. So I'm looking at my stone, my rock, and this is the biggest, so this is going to be the main stone, so probably going to be the focal point. And I'm just thinking, how is it going to look best, most natural in the aquascape? It's really worth taking your time doing this. The tank's dry, and it's always best to do your hardscaping when it's dry. It's much less messy, and it's really important to get the hardscape right. The hardscape is the backbone of the layout. It's the most important part of the aquascape. Everything else revolves around the hardscape. So I like to compare it to a human skeleton. So if a human being's got a really strong skeleton, then they're more likely going to have stronger muscles, more robust flesh. And that's exactly like aquascaping. So if we start off with a good baseline, i.e. a good hardscape, then the good aquascape should follow on quite naturally. I've had a few attempts of different layouts and I'm not happy with any of them yet, so this is a good example of what you can do. So I'm not going to get too bothered about it. I'm just going to have a little break, have a cup of tea, have a little think, come back to it, and hopefully your creative juices will start flowing again. Okay, so I've had a little break and I've decided that I'm going to add a bag of soil. I think the soil will create more height and give me a little bit more room to play with the rocks, and hopefully that will help assist the creative process. So I've got a bag of scaper soil here from Denelay. I'm just going to pour it straight in. Then we can just flatten that out with our hands quickly. And then I'll put another bag in later on, maybe even 3 bags, depending on how it goes. So when we're working with rocks, we call it an iwagumi layout. Now this rock is a little bit different to usual because it's quite rounded. We tend to use more pronounced edges with rocks, but it's still beautiful. It's got some really interesting lines, and with iwagumi, it's trying to make it look as natural as possible. So we're thinking about aesthetic balance. We're thinking about using the strata in the stone, the natural lines, and making sure they all look as natural as possible. You've also got to combine that with it looking interesting as well, so it's really quite a challenge sometimes. And the big thing is trying to create enough height. So this aquarium is 36 centimetres tall, so we try to use that height to our advantage. I think that's quite a good basic layout, but these two are too similar, so we need to have this one, I think, much higher to act as a focal point. So what I can do is position a smaller stone. Okay, that's the basic plan. So 5 stones, And now it's just a case of just playing with it and making sure it's as balanced and as natural and as interesting as possible. Iwagumi is like the ultimate 3D jigsaw puzzle with no solution, so you just have to keep experimenting with different ideas. Don't get too frustrated if it's not going the way you want it to straight away. Take a break, come back to it. You know, I might spend all day doing this, I might come back to it tomorrow, decide I don't like it. And the thing is, don't settle unless you know it's as best you can do. Look at it and think, can I make that look any better? If you think you can, then just go for it and just keep repeating that process over and over until you think you've reached the best you can do. Okay, we're doing something a bit crazy, putting rocks on top of each other. Okay, so I'm starting to get there now. I'm quite happy with the layout. It's interesting when you actually do it and see it in 3D compared to when you see it from behind the camera. It's all about what actually you like to see for real, obviously. So it might not look so good in the photo or the video as it does in real life, which is a really interesting thing. So I actually sit over there, and so when I'm aquascaping, I actually like to do the aquascape, go back, sit over there, and how does it look from where I'm actually going to see the aquascape from, because obviously I'm the one that's got to live with the aquascape and I want it to look as attractive as possible. So that's a tip for you, you know, if you don't necessarily just sit in front of the aquascape and do it, you know, perfectly perpendicular, actually consider, you know, where you're going to be sitting when you're going to see the aquascape. So just something to think about. Okay, so I've had a little bit more fiddle around and I'm pretty much convinced it's nearly there. So I'm going to add the final bag of soil, and I'm just going to give it a good 24 hours or so. I'm going to keep going back to it every hour or so, have a look, see how it can be improved, and then eventually, hopefully, we'll come out with our final layout. So I've added the second bag, and you can see it's almost drowned the stone. So I'm just going to use a paintbrush now and slope it all towards the rear and expose some more of the rocks. Okay, so I've decided to start from scratch again. I wasn't happy with the layout, and rather than just keep tinkering, I thought I'd just rip them all out and start all over again. And that's one of the things you have to do with aquascaping. If you're not content, just don't live with it. Just start over. While it's dry, it's not messy, and it's worth just getting it right. You know, sometimes I'll do a layout in 30 seconds and I'll be absolutely fine with it. I think it, you know, really happy with it. Other times, like today, I've been doing it now for 3 or 4 hours and I'm still nowhere near happy. So, the joys of aquascaping. Okay, I've done a completely different approach now. Much happier with this layout. It's a classic 5-stone Iwagumi. Much better balance. We've got a definite focal point here. So yeah, much happier with it. So now I'm just going to use the paintbrush, just tidy up a bit, and then again, I'll probably leave it for a good sort of day or so. I think my plants are arriving tomorrow or the day after. So it'll give me a good couple of days to make sure I'm happy with it. Okay, so not happy with that 5-stone Iwagumi. I thought I could improve on it, and I had a bit of a brainwave. I realised I've got some small pieces of manzanita in the garden, manzanita wood, and I thought, I wonder if they'd look really good sort of creeping over the rocks, and that's what I've done, and I think it looks really good. I think it's the best layout yet, so at the moment I'm going to stick with this one. So I've taken the wood out, I'm going to soak that in a bucket. My plants actually arrive from Denelay in Germany tomorrow, so I'm going to soak them overnight, the wood. I'm not sure if it will sink in time, but anyway, what I'll do, I'll plant the substrate without the wood in place because it'll make it much easier to plant. And then I'm thinking I might attach some Riccardia Camadry foliage to the wood, maybe some Bucephalandras, maybe even some small Anubias. I've got plenty in my Aquascaper 1200 that I can propagate. Failing that, I'll go to my local retailer to see my mate Dave at Aquarium Gardens, and I'm sure he can help me out with some plants as well. So that's kind of the hardscape kind of complete really. I'm going to put the wood back, you know, pretty much as it was. I have a little play around, see if I can improve on the wood positioning after I've planted. I could even go down the dry start method route if I wanted to. So I'll have a little think. I'm not going to be planting till tomorrow, so I'll have a little think overnight and see what I decide tomorrow.